call the 3 p.m. session of the December 14th, 2021 meeting of the Henry County Board of Supervisors to order. I'd like to welcome all of our visitors. Remind you, if you want to address the board, you must sign up 7 days in advance of the meeting to be put on the agenda. The county administrator is the contact person for the board. However, the public may address the board under the agenda item, matters presented by the public, later in the meeting. Again, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming out and participating in your county government. Our first item of consideration today is agenda item number 5, the items of consent. We did have a resolution that was added to this that the board has a copy of. It was a joint resolution honoring the Piedmont, Virginia Dental Health Foundation, but that is included in the items of consent. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the items of consent as amended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It is 6-0, Jennifer. Agenda item number 6. We have a presentation of the FY 2021 audit from Creedle, Jones, and Alger. Mr. Hall.
The firm of Creedle, Jones, and Alger, PC has completed its audit of the county accounts for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021. A copy of the audit and the management letter are included in your packet. And Ms. Kim Jackson is with us to present the report and answer questions.
The financial section is the first part of the audit, which includes the auditor's report, which states that the auditor was performed in accordance with all applicable auditing standards. Based on the audit procedures, an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion was issued for FY21. Pages 1 through 9 are the management discussion and analysis, which summarizes the financial results for the fiscal year. It's in a more condensed format. If you go to 10 through 20, that's the basic financial statements. 10 and 11 have the full financial statements. Page 12 is the balance sheet that most people are most familiar with for the governmental funds, which includes the general fund. On page 12, the total fund balance of the general fund is approximately $79 million. It's a decrease of $28 million from the prior year, but the decrease is due mainly to the expenditures related to the Adult Detention Center. On page 12, the unassigned portion of the fund balance is approximately $31 million. This is the portion of the fund balance that has not been assigned, committed, or restricted for a specific purpose. Unassigned balance at the end of the previous year was $33 million. So unassigned fund balance has decreased approximately $1.5 million. However, the county's unassigned fund balance is still above their required minimum under the financial policy, which is approximately $11 million. Page 14 is your statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. And you can see that capital outlay line is $36 million, which accounts for your decrease pretty much, which is due to the Adult Detention Center expenditures for the year. Page 16 to 18 reflect the financial position and activities of the county's proprietary funds, which are the Marina Fund and the Self-Insurance Fund. You move to pages 19 and 20. They're the county's fiduciary fund, which was a new governmental accounting standards board, issued a new statement that was effective for FY21, which is Statement 84, which required that the OPEB trust and the inmate funds and the special welfare funds are now reported in that statement. Starting on page 21 to 98, those are just the footnotes to the financial statements that have all the required disclosures and more detail to back up the amounts in the financial statements. Pages 44 to 47, footnote 11 is the county's long-term debt details. Page 45 reflects the borrowings on the new Adult Detention Center, and also the school debt, including the refinancing of the school debt in FY21. Page 49, report note 16, discusses ongoing litigation, which as the issuance of the financial statement, the only material litigation is the City of Martinsville reversion to a town. Pages 50 to 98 are the required footnotes related to the county pension and county other post-employment benefits that was put into effect a couple of years ago. Pages 99 to 104 start to require supplementary information, which the most important part of that is the budget to actual comparison schedule for your general fund revenue and expenditures. Pages 105 to 108 are the same budget to actual, just for your other governmental funds. Page 189 to 129 requires supplementary information that's related to your pension and OPEB for GASB 68 and 75. Page 131 starts your school funds financial position and financial activity for the fiscal year. Page 138 starts the same statements but for the IDA and social services. Page 144 is your statement of changes in fiduciary net position, which is required under the new GASB 84. This is the detail, and the summarized version is in the front. Pages 151 to 161 is the compliance section. Includes the auditor's reports and opinions on internal controls, compliance over major federal programs, and compliance with the Commonwealth of Virginia's laws, regulations, contracts, and grants. All of those opinions were also clean with no findings, and we had no instances of non-compliance in FY21. Also had no management letter points in FY21 that we've had in previous years. Those have been cleaned up.
Okay. Are there any questions?
Good job.
All right, I will accept a motion that we accept the auditor's report.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Is 6-0, Jennifer. Thank you, Kim. Agenda item number 7, matters presented by the public. I have a brief policy statement to read prior to this. This is time for public comment. We welcome your participation in today's meeting. We're here to listen to you. If you care to address the board, come to the podium, state your name, your subject matter, and the district in which you live. By coming to the podium, you've agreed that you'll exhibit respect for the board and its members. You will receive the same consideration from the board. Please try to keep your presentation to no more than 3 minutes. And we had 3 folks for this afternoon. Any additional matters presented by the public will be taken up tonight under agenda item number 20. Ms. Martin, I believe that you desired to come speak.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for allowing me to come in and have a couple of minutes of your time today. I, of course, would like to just have a few minutes to speak about the voluntary settlement agreement. The day after the city announced their reversion vote, and our county attorney's response in the bulletin was, "We're not going to fight this," we figured it was going to be downhill from there. So the bargaining began. The 2 most important factors in the whole arena was completely left out, and that's the 2 school systems. They were not part of anything. And never in reversion in the state of Virginia has a school system been dissolved so they could get what they want. Never happened before. This would set a real hard precedence for other cities. As I listened to you at the last meeting, I could tell you were having second thoughts on your previous vote on this voluntary agreement. I was happy to hear that. Your words that appeared that you have been listening to your constituents and rethinking the enormity of what this will do to Henry County. Now is the time for you to be true representatives of Henry County and be the leaders you were elected to be. No more following the city council. Now we lead. The voluntary agreement is no less than blackmail. If you don't do this, we'll do this. Look up the definition of blackmail, about the same thing. If the city attorney wishes to continue to bloviate to the citizens of Martinsville all he wishes, that's fine. But the time for Henry County to lead is now. I anticipate the new common sense leadership in our state will be able to provide us with some better options. I know some of you boys that we had both state houses, you would feel better, as we all would. But we do have an edge in the Senate. We have a weapon that they don't know about. We got a Bill Stanley. And I'm all confident that Bill can usually swing one vote over to his side. And if that happens, then our fabulous new lieutenant governor, Winsome Sears, will get to break that tie. So technically, we do have both houses, in my humble opinion. All of you on this board bring different and unique perspectives to this issue. All of you work for a living. Some of you have your own businesses, some of you are educators. But to me, there's no such thing as a retired educator. That's like saying there's a retired Marine. Once a Marine, you're always a Marine. And I feel that way with an educator. Once an educator, you're always an educator. It stays with you. So today, I want you to bring all your expertise to the forefront and do what you all know is right for Henry County. You know that. I know you do. Vote to shut down this voluntary settlement agreement. The citizens didn't volunteer and commit to any of it, and neither should this board. Make us proud today. Make this an early Christmas present. As for me, I would much rather have my tax dollars spent on fighting this than have my taxes raised because of this, and for us to say we did nothing. So I hope when this discussion comes up on this, I'm gonna see a majority of no's over there, and we're gonna start the new year off right. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Milner, I believe that you wanted to address the board.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, there are a couple of comments that I would like to share with you. I think a couple of these notes may have come to your desk by way of email. First, I want to say that with any crisis situation, which is one way in which reversion, I guess, has been described, is that you have opportunity. And I want to say to the board, take the opportunity to really to be statesmen in this whole process. Don't like it, maybe our politics are different, but it would be a major step forward for the board to be statesman-like. And by that, among other things, we know some things in the past we have not liked and we disagreed in the two communities. But ask the question, what can we make out of this to make Martinsville and Henry County a better community? And so that's my second point, that the motivation in terms of what we do and how we go forward should be predicated on community. What will make life better for citizens individually? What can we do that we can bring these segments and the divisions together? How can we talk about policy and action that will turn down the rhetoric and we can meet minds and talk about what is a common vision for Martinsville and Henry County? The third thing that I would say is that look for ways to try to instigate more of us getting involved and not just waiting for somebody or looking to you to do the best thing. Look for ways in which you can agitate, instigate, recruit, whatever. But look, we'll have better government, we'll have better community if more citizens were engaged. And I would like to suggest, and wherever you might go in platform, come to my church or wherever, promote the idea we need greater engagement on the part of the citizen. And specifically, I would like to have you to answer these questions. I noticed the revision issue is not on the agenda proper, but maybe there will be. But the question would be, what is the board's overall plan for dealing with reversion? That's one question. The second, what do you hope would be the outcome, that is from your standpoint and from the standpoint of the community when this is all over? The third would be how to engage the community to be a part of. For instance, I see the redrawing of the lines. Will the community have an opportunity to be part of that process? And the last question would be, how do you see the citizen participating and be part of the process going forward? We thank you for giving me this opportunity. We say good news and great joy for the holiday season, and we look forward to a better year and going forward in 22-20. Thank you.
Mr. Stigall, I believe that you had signed up as well.
Okay, appreciate you having me. I'm Doug Stigall from Collinsville, Virginia. I'm basing my talk today, I've talked in the past on it, is this free health insurance for the Board of Supervisors and the school board. And I'm basing my entire talk today on information I got from the county through a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act. And if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the information I got is that Anthem had said that the Board of Supervisors and School Board, they consider them part-time workers. And you can tell me if I'm interpreting this wrong. My question today is, you know, Henry County does not insure part-time workers. So when they deemed y'all part-time, how can y'all vote to give this insurance to yourself when you're part-time workers if the other part-time workers can't get it? It's costing the taxpayers over $8,000, about $8,600 a year to give each one of you that's getting this insurance. That's what it's costing the taxpayers, about $8,600 a year for each one of you. So I asked y'all, is it fair to the other part-time workers? When y'all getting it, like I said, y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, explain it to me, sit down with me, explain it to me. The FOIA request came to me, and I've asked y'all in the past, and I can't get an answer. So I went to Joe Bryant, and I got them to send him the same information that the county gave me, and I don't know if he will comment on it or what his ideas are on it, but I've asked Joe to pass a resolution to do away with this insurance. It needs to be done away with, in my opinion, for the school board and the Board of Supervisors. And they got the HIPAA law now. They can hide behind the HIPAA law and say that we don't want the public to know we're getting this insurance. Now, I want the rank and file that work for Henry County, I want them to get this insurance. I want everybody to get it, but they're not showing any proof of any time worked. And the rank and file do. If I'm wrong on this, you let me know. But I don't know but Joe's my representative, and I did ask him to pass a resolution to do away with this insurance, or explain to me where I'm wrong on this. And I think I let other people read it, and they agree with me. But I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the facts. If I'm wrong on something, you let me know. But they said y'all agreed if y'all could get this insurance, y'all would work 25 hours a week, 50 weeks out of the year. You walked into the room part-time, we walked out of the room full-time on paper. Have you ever shown any proof of any time work? Does the rank and file show any? I'm asking the question. I appreciate it. I don't know if Joe's going to speak up or not. Thank you.
Agenda item number 8, we have a report on delinquent tax collection efforts. We have with us County Treasurer Scott Grindstaff. Scott, welcome.
Good afternoon. This is a report as of November 30th, 2021. Personal property collection. We have collected 94.83% of the 2020 personal property tax. The amount collected in the month was $35,784. Real estate collection as of November 30th, 2021. We have collected 96.36% of the 2020 real estate taxes. The amount collected in the month was $40,629. Since the 1st of January 2021, taxes collected over $1,020,902. Debt set off so far this year, we've collected $118,734.14. And DMV stop so far this year, we've collected 25. The personal property bills that have been extended with a due date of February 4th, 2022 were mailed yesterday. So they'll have about 8 weeks to get those paid without any penalty. And one more thing, we have a possible judicial sale scheduled for January 28th.
Where will that be held?
Right here.
In this bit, okay. Any comments other than complimenting his mask today?
Hey, can you see this?
I
Oh, I didn't wear a mask.
That's high praise. Kudos on the mask.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Agenda item number 9, we had one addition that's paperwork is in front of you at 9B, but we'll take up 9A first, an additional appropriation referencing 4 for life funds for public safety. Mr. Hall.
Henry County recently received $53,422.72 from the Commonwealth's 4 for Life Return to Localities Fund. This fund is derived from a fee charged by the state on each vehicle registered in Henry County. The funds must be used for emergency medical services, training, supplies, or equipment. In the past, the funds were distributed equally among the 5 rescue squads in the Department of Public Safety for ambulance operations. As previously approved by the Board of Supervisors, the squads will be required to spend the funds before February 1, 2022 to allow staff time to complete the required reports and submit them to the Commonwealth. If the board chooses to divide the funds among the 6 departments equally, each department will receive $8,903.78.
Okay, this is similar to what we have seen in the past. In regard to this additional appropriation, what is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move the approval of the additional appropriation of $53,422.72 from 4 for life funds.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Is 6-0. Michelle? Oh, excuse me, Jennifer. Jennifer, you were back in the corner. I'm sorry. Thank you. Agenda item 9B, an award of contract referencing HVAC improvements for the courthouse. Mr. Hall.
Staff is asking the board to award a contract of $259,356 for Pedestrian Incorporated for the replacement of the primary chiller unit in the courthouse, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. The new chiller will effectively improve air quality and energy efficiency in the building. It will also be more environmentally friendly as it uses refrigerants that are safer for the atmosphere. Staff recommends using American Rescue Plan Act or ARPA funds for this purchase. Pricing is based on the county's existing contract with Trane, and we brought this to you kind of outside of the agenda because we get a significant price help if we do this before January 1, so we felt like we needed to bring it to you today.
Okay, in regard to awarding this contract, what is the desire of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a recommendation awarding the contract of $259,356 to Trane Incorporated for the HVAC improvement at the courthouse.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Is 6-0. Jennifer. Agenda item number 10, a consideration of projects for regional comprehensive economic development strategy known as the CEDS document. Mr. Hall.
Each year, the West Piedmont Regional Economic Development District, which serves Henry, Patrick, Franklin, and Pennsylvania counties, the cities of Martinsville and Danville, and the town of Rocky Mount, compiles an updated comprehensive economic development strategy, or CEDS. The plan will be forwarded to the U.S. Economic Development Administration to maintain the eligibility of the participating localities to receive EDA funding. The document must contain a list of prioritized projects, and the West Piedmont Planning District Commission annually requests that each locality submit its proposed future projects. It is essential that all projects the board will consider within the next year be included in the CEDS because only projects on this list are eligible for EDA funds. Including a project in the CEDS does not commit the county to undertake that project. It merely is a listing of potential projects from which EDA representatives choose for investment of federal funds in the district. If the EDA invites the county to submit an application for a specific project from this list, the board would then be required to commit the local funds necessary for implementation. Staff developed the attached proposed list of projects for the board's approval.
Okay, in regard to the approval of the list of projects, the board's had an opportunity to review this in their working papers. What is the pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move the board approve the list of projects for submission into the regional CEDS.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Is 6-0. Jennifer. Agenda item number 11, land purchase approval and acceptance of donation referencing Riverview Park. Mr. Hall.
In July, Henry County was awarded $495,000 from the Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation's Land and Water Conservation Fund to purchase 56 acres adjacent to the Smith River Sports Complex. In addition, a local foundation is donating 60 acres adjacent to the complex to the county. When combined, the county will have approximately 117 acres for the future development of outdoor recreation space known as Riverview Park. Staff is asking the board to approve the purchase of land from Ann Vipperman and to accept the donation of land from NUCO Incorporated.
Okay, in regard to the approval and acceptance of donation referencing Riverview Park and the purchase approval, what is the desire of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the purchase of land from Ann Vipperman, accept the donation of land from NUCO Incorporated, and authorize the board chair to sign all documents related to these real estate transactions.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It is 6-0. Jennifer. Agenda item number 12, a consideration of a path forward for Henry County Magisterial District realignment. And I will, Mr. Hall, and I will note that we do have our registrar with us, Ms. Vaughn.
With the release of the updated census information every 10 years, localities are required to revisit their magisterial district borders to ensure they still meet all requirements based on population. This process has been impacted by delays in receiving census data as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. However, it is time to start this work. The Board of Supervisors is charged with adopting district boundaries, usually as recommended by a committee appointed to do the preliminary work and present options to the board. In addition, public hearings will be held to receive citizen input. And under staff recommendation, you see the listing that staff is recommending be included on this committee.
I have one question prior to asking for board's desire. What type of timeline for this entire process?
Well, in a perfect year, we're already late, but we would hope to have something done early spring for implementation, probably with the June, near the June deadlines for filing, so candidates will know what their districts will actually be. So sometime in the spring is about as close as we can get right now, but the sooner the better.
Okay, the board has in front of it the staff recommendation as far as a committee comprised of named individuals. What is the pleasure of the board in regard to taking action on this?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the committee that has been recommended for the Henry County Magisterial District realignment. And we look forward to a presentation, hopefully by June 1st.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It's 6-0. Jennifer. Agenda item number 13, additional discussion referencing the voluntary settlement agreement. Mr. Hall or Mr. Lyle?
In August 2021, a voluntary settlement agreement between the City of Martinsville and Henry County was presented to the Commission on Local Government. In September 2021, Commission held hearings on the topic of reversion as required by law, and in October of 2021, the Commission on Local Government approved the voluntary settlement agreement as presented. The Board of Supervisors held a required public hearing regarding the voluntary settlement agreement on November 23rd, 2021, and took no action on the item after the public hearing concluded. Supervisor Martin has asked Chairman Adams to place the item back on today's agenda for consideration. I would add to that, the voluntary settlement agreement as presented today is the same as was approved by the board in August. Legal counsel continues to recommend adoption of the ordinance approving the voluntary settlement agreement, and we do so for the following reasons. While reversion of Martinsville represents a negative financial event for the county, as observed by the audit report that was presented earlier today, the voluntary settlement agreement creates a known outcome that controls the financial damage. Secondly, the voluntary settlement agreement reduces the costs of litigation. Third, the fully litigated, in addition just to the costs of legal counsel and experts, if fully litigated, the county has significant risk of, number one, sooner annexation upon reversion. Number two, being assigned debt from the city. Number three, losing control of the agreement. You have the control to create your future voting districts. That could be all lost in a fully litigated matter. And there's a number of other negative outcomes that could come from fully litigating it. I would also add that I understand the sentiment among people in our community, especially in the county, who do not like this being thrust upon them by another locality. But to the extent of fully litigating it, I think the Commission on Local Government, who has the most influential say in this matter, made it very clear in their ruling that the reversion of Martinsville from a city to a town, whether we as officials of Henry County or citizens of Henry County like it, is in the best interest of this community and the Commonwealth. And they think it can be done equitably. I have no reason to believe that if we didn't have a voluntary settlement agreement, and I've consulted the outside counsel, we have no reason to believe that if we didn't have a voluntary settlement agreement and we litigated it, that their opinion would change at all. So I think, again, we are still presented, as we were when we began the negotiations with the city, that the idea of resisting this and convincing the Commission on Local Government that it shouldn't happen is extremely remote. They conducted these public hearings and think this voluntary settlement agreement should be approved, and I think they would, if we were to go back and litigate it as a reversion matter, I think they would think that Martinsville should revert, and we could end up with some other negative outcomes. So for all those reasons, legal counsel still feels it's in the community's best interest and the county's best interest to approve the voluntary settlement agreement by adopting the ordinance.
Are there any additional comments from our outside counsel?
Mr. Adams, I think Mr. Lyle has summed it up correctly. I agree with everything he said. The outcome from not going forward with the voluntary settlement agreement could be sooner annexation, as Mr. Lyle stated, and it could be terms of the reversion that are more impactful on the county than we negotiated. So that is why we continue to recommend approval.
Okay, Dr. Martin, you had asked for this to be placed on the agenda, so your desire to speak in regard to this, since it was placed on the agenda.
I can start with a discussion from the board, and then I have a motion at the end of that discussion for the chair and the board to consider it. So the first thing is, the more and more that I've thought about reversion, and one of the speakers referred to me as an educator, one thing that educators don't like is a bully. And I believe that the state code is a reason for the state or for people to have to bully us. And I want to, when I thought about this, I went back to Webster's, of course, and it says as a verb to use superior strength or influence to intimidate, typically to force him or her to do what one wants. And that's what I think the state of Virginia has done. Because I believe that this community, we have our ups and downs, but at the same time, when things happen, we talk about them, we discuss them. It's not done upon us. And throughout this process, as an educator, both school boards have not been involved in any of the discussions of consolidation, reversion, or merger, whatever you want to call it. And as a former superintendent, it's interesting to me that in this voluntary agreement, there was a negotiation of buildings that this board does not own, or city council does not own. They are the property of the school boards themselves. And once those buildings have no longer use, then they are reverted back to the governing body. But I think both the city of Martinsville and Henry County, we have an opportunity, because we've almost, by virtue of this statute, turned our backs on the future of this county and the city. And what I mean by that, and those are our students. As adults, we are monitoring or modeling what we want our students to do. And what we've said is, well, we've got the law behind us, and this is what we're going to do. Rather than getting together and talking about a process of putting systems together. It is very disappointing and disheartening for me as a former school superintendent to think that you could put the two largest employers in this community, you could put them together with all their intricacies in a year and a half and expect success. That's redrawing attendance lines, that's doing all sorts of things. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe there's great benefit in putting school systems together, because we offer programs that the city does not offer, and the city offers programs that we don't offer. So the benefit for students is unbelievable. But we've not had an opportunity, no one has had an opportunity to sit down with the boards and to do that, because we've just kind of taken sides. And I don't think in the spirit of reversion and consolidation, that's in the best interest of this community. I mean, I've often said, when I served here as a superintendent in the late 90s and now, it was really hard for me to tell when I was moving from the city to the county, geographically, in my car. Because we all do things together. But yet when there's something this important, the state says, we're not going to let you sit down and talk about it. I understand that there is a voluntary agreement, but I think there can be more. I think there can be more discussion and more collaboration. And I will yield the floor for other discussions before I make a motion.
Is there any other discussion? If not, I'll accept your motion.
Mr. Chairman, before you make a motion, I kind of echo what Mr. Martin's responses are. Through this whole process that we've had here in the last year or more, we had a so-called closed meeting between the city and the county, to where there was no information that was passed on to any of the city council members other than who was at the meeting, and no information passed on to the board members other than who was at the meeting. And no information was passed out to the public in the city, and no information was passed out to the public in the county. So it left us all guessing of what was going on. And then out of that meeting come this letter of a memorandum of understanding that was given to us and said, this is what you need and this is what you got to go by, without us having any input or anything on the letter of understanding. I think that, as Dr. Martin has just said, that there is a lot of discussion that can be made through the city on things that we could do to incorporate possibly the school systems, because the school systems has not had any say-so whatsoever into this ordeal at all. Neither the city nor the county school systems has. Matter of fact, I have no idea what our school system's going to do about the school systems in the city. Are they going to keep Martinsville High School open? Are they going to close Martinsville High School? Are they going to do anything else in the other schools? I know at Albert Harris, they plan on keeping Albert Harris. But these things, you would think that a supervisor that's going to make a decision to vote on this mutual of understanding would know this information before we ever pass this information, voted on this information. How can I make a confirmed decision or an informed decision on information that I don't have? I mean, I'm letting you as a county pass me some information on, and I look at it and say, okay, I passed it on, but I have not had any input in it whatsoever. You know, I mean, I have had a chance to opportunity express my thoughts, but I have had no opportunity to have an input on anything that went into that letter of mutual understanding, nothing at all. I'm sure that most everybody in here probably knows the way that I feel about this. I wish this thing would just go away, and that we could somehow work with the city to come up with a better solution than the city reverting to a town and then later on annexing. I think that with the new government per se in Virginia, with the lieutenant governor and our governor being Republican side, we've got Danny Marshall that's going back up now to legislation to help get something on the agenda, maybe for the people in the county, possibly, and I doubt that would happen, but it's possible. Give them a chance to have an input on it. The city did not have any, the citizens did not have any input in on it at all, none. And I'm thinking that we need to do a better job, even going back into the fact that we get the city back over and sit back down to them as a group and a whole. I just think that an opportunity was missed for us as 4 other supervisors that was not involved in the negotiation, that there was a miss from us having our input on it, because I guarantee it, if myself and the other 3 that was not there would have been a different outcome on it probably, or a different wording of the mutual of understanding. So, you know, what I would like to see happen, I'd like to make a substitute motion that we curtail this until next year, to give Mr. Dillard, the new supervisor from Irish Wood District, an opportunity to get in onto it, and then start looking at better pathways that we could possibly work on, trying to identify what we can do with the city to negotiate better terms. I just don't like the terms. 10 years flies by. Matter of fact, I mean, I'm looking here and I'm getting up tonight to be reappointed for my 4th section on the Board of Henry County Supervisors. I would have never in the world thought that time would have flew by like that right there. 10 years is going to fly by. And I know that you say that gives us a chance to work on, you know, things that we can do to kind of curtail what they're going to do when they annex. But it's still coming. Somebody's going to be sitting in my spot going to say the same thing in 10 years from now. man, here we are, what are we gonna do? You know, we're gonna have to go to court on this right here, and it's gonna be just an overcurrent battle. I'm one that don't run from a fight. I'll stand up and fight regardless. I just think that if we can make a motion to curtail it till next month and pick it up next month sometime, maybe when we go to our planning session, we can talk about it through our planning session and so forth. But I'd hate to see a motion made that would let this process continue.
So you're offering that in the form of a motion? Is there a second? Is there a second? Hearing no second.
Is the motion to hold off until the General Assembly to see what the General Assembly does in regard to?
You know, I'm not even sure when the General Assembly is going to be out of session. But I do think that, you know, we don't need to rush it, is what I'm saying. It don't need to be rushed right this second. We've got a little time in there. You know, we need to get a better understanding of it. I would hope that the General Assembly would give us a little leeway on what would come, but even if they didn't, you know, we need to come up with some type of better solution than what we got now.
Mr. Chairman, at the outset of this discussion, I said that I had a motion, and I've not been given the opportunity to make that motion.
Okay, I never heard a second on that. You have that opportunity at this point in time, because that is the matter that we're considering, exactly what you added to the agenda, so.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that the Henry County Board of Supervisors not approve the voluntary settlement agreement.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion at this point in time? Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? It's 4-2 in regard to the motion, Jennifer. Agenda item number 14, consideration of date and time for the 2022 organizational meeting. Mr. Hall.
Board of Supervisors is required to have an organizational meeting at or soon after the first of the year. During this meeting, the board will set its meeting dates for 2022 and elect the chairman and a vice chairman.
Okay, each of you, typically we select first business day following a holiday, and since a holiday falls on Saturday and then followed by a Sunday, first business day would be January the 3rd. And Mr. Dillard, we'd like for you to participate in this conversation as well, since you will be part of that meeting. Is there a time of day, or does January the 3rd work for everyone by each of you looking at your calendars? And I know that some of you have business items in the day, including those working, say 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you know.
I mean, 5 would be a better time for me, but I could work with 4, but 5 would be a better time, but whatever anybody else would want to do.
Does 5 o'clock work for everyone? Okay, does that work for you, Mr. Dillard?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So that we can have this as a board action, although Dr. Martin, you won't be there, you'll still be a part of this vote. Would someone make a motion in regard to setting January the 3rd, 5 p.m. for the date and time for the 2022 organizational meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I make a recommendation that we set the time for January the 3rd, 5 p.m. for our yearly organizational meeting.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It is 6-0, Jennifer. Agenda item number 15, informational items. Take comments from the board, beginning with Mr. Zaire.
Yes, I think Mr. Wagner was going to give us an update on the Comcast and the grant funds, or was you going to do that, Tim?
I've got on my notes to update you on the broadband project that we heard about
Okay,
yesterday.
perfect. Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Dr. Martin.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bryant.
No, I don't. Well, I do. Just one quick thing. You know, I can't thank the board enough for their support on these apartments that we had over there on Stoltz Road. All of the hard work that all of y'all has done, including Lee Clark, George Lyles, all the hard work that they did to try to get this thing done. And I've been over several times looking at it as they started taking them down, looking at them doing the seating and everything like there. It looks so much better. I'm telling you, it's true. It does. And I honestly, I thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. And I know the citizens over there, you know, thank all the other county supervisors for stepping up and showing their support for that area over there.
Ms. Buchanan?
No, the only question I have, Mr. Hall, in regard to, I know that we had passed a resolution, Mr. Slaughter had recommended naming the bridges after fallen police officers. Has there been any progress with that?
Yes, ma'am. Brandon Martin has been our point person on that. He's working with the sheriff's office to identify families, get in touch with families, see if they have a preference as to the location. So that's an ongoing process. I'm hopeful that we can have some information on that soon, but it's still ongoing.
Good, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Slaughter.
Yes.
I have one item. Staff brought to my attention today, and something that I'd like to make public, since they brought it to my attention, that they have actually put together a little something in regard to show appreciation to Dr. Martin. I know that you absolutely did not want it, but if you'll look close to Mr. Zaire over there, you had some efforts made by others here, and I appreciate their efforts, but more than that, we appreciate everything that you've done as far as input. You study each item to the nth degree. You bring back insightful recommendations to the board, and on behalf of the board, we couldn't ask for anyone to have served any better.
The only thing that I'd like to say, first, Jim, you were not supposed to do this. I almost had your word.
I did not. I'm passing blame to someone else.
Okay. The second is, I have a heartfelt thanks to this community, both Martinsville and Henry County, and now Patriot County, for allowing me to serve this community both in the late 90s as a superintendent and now these last 4 years as a board of supervisors. It has been an honor and a privilege, and if you would ask my wife and some of our relatives, they can't believe how much this community has put their hands out to us, because we didn't grow up here. But I have a lot of fond memories. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hall.
Yes, there are several items. One, I'll start with the item that Mr. Zaire brought up. You may have seen yesterday, I hope you saw it, the governor's announcement of broadband grants to localities. This was part of the effort we brought to you in August about a partnership with AEP, West Piedmont Planning District, Franklin County, Henry County. We got great news yesterday. We were awarded $33,571,073.
Yes.
That will allow us to leverage another $62 million among our partners. That will result in 10,056 unserved locations in Franklin, Henry, and Patriot to get broadband service. And this is not just the old dial-up when you hear the squeak and wonder if it's going to hold. This is state-of-the-art broadband service to virtually every corner of these 3 counties. So we are thrilled with that. We're thrilled that AEP and West Piedmont and the Commonwealth worked with us. Mr. Wagner and Mr. Youngblood have been essential in this process, but that is a red letter day that we got this information yesterday. And Governor Northam's press release, he said that these should be in place by 2024. That seems fast for government, but we're hopeful that that's accurate. But at the end of the day, every person who wants internet access, strong internet access at their homes or businesses will have that opportunity. And I think that it's hard to overemphasize how important this project is. So we're hopeful that that gets moving fairly quickly. Another item, as you've probably seen in local media advertisements, Crown Holdings will have 2 job fairs this week. One on Thursday at CCAP at the Commonwealth Crossing Business Center. That's from 9 to 3. And another one on Saturday from 9 to 2. We encourage everyone to take advantage of that if you're so inclined. Bring a resume. You can even go online and fill out the application prior to getting there and have that interview conducted right then. This will be an employer of choice in our community. We're very excited. The company is very excited with the progress that they've seen so far. So we highly encourage anyone that's looking for a job or a better job to attend one of those. Item number 3, tomorrow we will resume our community COVID update that the Chamber of Commerce sponsors. That'll be a Zoom press conference tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Like other communities, we are seeing a spike in cases. We are seeing a spike in concern, and particularly post-Thanksgiving, pre-Christmas, when families tend to get together. There's probably pretty good odds that the numbers will continue to climb. So anything that we can do to bring attention and advocate for folks doing the right thing, wearing a mask, social distance, get your COVID vaccine, get your boosters, whatever we can do. And we tell our employees all the time, what this is, it's not about you. It's about the person next to you. And if we take on that mindset, then I'm hopeful that that will work out. And then finally, holiday season, as you know, we follow the Commonwealth of Virginia's holiday schedule. So that means that Thursday, the 23rd, we will celebrate Christmas Eve with a day off that day. Friday the 24th, we'll be off in recognition of Christmas Day. And then Friday the 31st, we will have off in recognition of New Year's Day. As you know, Christmas Day and New Year's are both on Saturday, so we're maneuvering the calendar a little bit. So that's where we are.
Great. Agenda item number 16, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed meeting if someone will cite the items allowed by the Code of Virginia to go into closed meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we go into closed meeting as authorized by the State of Virginia Freedom of Information Act under 2.23711A1 for discussion of appointees to the Blue Ridge Regional Library Board, Patriot Center, Ccbc Advisory Board, and the Southern Area Agency on Aging Board. 2.23711A7 for discussion of pending legal matters. 2.23711A3 for discussion of the acquisition, disposal of real estate. 2.23711A5 for discussion of as yet unannounced industries. And 2.23711A1 for discussion of personnel matters.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? There's 6-0. Closed meeting on a motion by Dr. Murphy, second by Mr. Bryant. Mr. Wagner, will you poll the board, please?
Be certified in a closed session, discuss only public business matters lawfully exempt and as identified in motions for closed session. Mr. Ray.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Martin.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bryant.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cannon.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Slaughter.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Adams.
Yes, sir. Mr. Cannon, I believe that you have a district appointment representing the Horse Pasture District for the Blue Ridge Regional Library Board.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to appoint M. Cheryl Hvac to the Blue Ridge Regional Library Board for a 4-year term that will expire June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It is 6-0, Jennifer. Mr. Bryant, I believe that you have a countywide appointment for the Patriot Center, Commonwealth Crossing Business Center Advisory Board for the board's consideration.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion that we reappoint Richard Hall, Terry Cundiff, Nuvi Coleman, and Gary Gibson to the Patriot Center CCBC Advisory Board for a period of 2 years. Expiration date's going to be December 31st of 2023.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It's 6-0, Jennifer. Likewise, Mr. Bryant, for the Southern Area Agency on Aging, I believe that you have an appointment for the board's consideration.
Yes, sir, I do. I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Melissa Puckett to the Southern Area Agency on Aging Board for a period of 3 years. Expiration date is going to be November the 1st, 2024.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It's 6-0. We have one other item prior to going into our evening session. County Administrator Tim Hall has an item for the consider.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the board knows, I've been contemplating a certain decision for the last few months, and I'm ready to move forward and formally inform you that I plan to retire effective July 1, 2022. We still got 6 months of hard work to do. After that, y'all got a lot of hard work to do, and I'll watch from the sidelines and critique you as everyone else does. But wanted to get that out, let folks know that I'll be leaving, stepping aside. I'm not going anywhere, I don't think, but we'll see where that plays out. And let me say, it's been an absolute honor and privilege to work for this locality and to work for this board. And I'm most appreciative that you entrusted me with the job that you hired me for. And it was an absolute privilege to do it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. With that, Dr. Martin or Ms. Buchanan, I think that the board needs to have an action in regard to that announcement.
Yes. With a heavy heart, because certainly Mr. Hall has done an outstanding job as our county administrator and has had the full support of the board. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the retirement of County Administrator Tim Hall effective July 1st, 2022.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It is 6-0, Jennifer. There are no other items out of closed.
We do have one more.
We have one more.
Oh, yes, I apologize. Yes, sir. Dr. Martin.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to hire Dale Wagner as County Administrator with an effective date of July 1, 2022, and authorize the Board Chairman to sign documents related to the hire and to engage discussion with the PSA Board about continuing to share the position as General Manager of the PSA.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Is 6-0. Jennifer,
Congratulations, Dale.
any words? We have about 2 minutes before we begin our evening session, and so we will start promptly at 6 o'clock. We'll call the 6 p.m. session of the December 14th, 2021 meeting of the Henry County Board of Supervisors back to order. I'd like to welcome everyone. Remind you that if you want to address the board specifically on any time to be placed on the agenda, you'll need to contact 7 days in advance the county administrator's office to be placed specifically on the agenda. However, the public may address the board under the agenda item matters presented by the public later in this meeting tonight, which is agenda item number 20. Our first item of business tonight is agenda item 17, consideration of a resolution recognizing the 70th anniversary of the Martinsville Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. Ms. Buchanan, I believe that on behalf of the board, that you have a resolution for the board's consideration.
I do, Mr. Chairman. This is a resolution of the Henry County Board of Supervisors. Whereas the residents of Henry County, our families, our friends, and our neighbors benefit from civic-minded organizations dedicated to enriching the lives of others through public service. And whereas one such organization is the Martinsville Alumni Chapter of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Incorporated. And whereas the Martinsville Alumni Chapter celebrated the 70th anniversary of its charter on November the 13th, 2021, which represented hundreds of hours of community service provided to the residents of Henry County. And whereas during the past 70 years, the committed and inspiring members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority have served as pillars in the community to uphold the values of sisterhood, scholarship, service, and social action among our African American residents specifically and the county at large.
And whereas the Martinsville Alumni Chapter remained resilient throughout the pandemic by partnering with local agencies to address food insecurities and provide warmth to those less fortunate through the donations of blankets and socks. And whereas this dedication to servant leadership has inspired us all to chase the bright light of intelligence, which serves as the torch of wisdom. Now therefore be it resolved on this 14th day of December 2021 that the Henry County Board of Supervisors congratulates all past and current members of the Martinsville Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority for their devotion to their community and their fellow women. Furthermore, the board encourages all local citizens to emulate the good deeds of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. Signed, Jim Adams, Chairman, Henry County Board of Supervisors. Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt this resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? It's 6-0, Jennifer. I'm going to ask Ms. Buchanan and Dr. Martin if they would present this to the group and group members. I know Ms. Thomas and others may come forward to receive this, as well as the entire...
It is a pleasure on the behalf of the Henry County Board of Supervisors to present this resolution to you. And I wore red tonight for a reason. But you've already told me I cannot be part of your group. But congratulations. Thank you. Did we get your best side? We've offered her an opportunity to say something, and you all can just stay right there, and then she can preach to all of us.
How did you know? To Board Chair, Mr. Adams, to all of the Henry County Board of Supervisors, to everyone who makes up this assembly, good evening. And I would like for you to please excuse us that we came in such great number, but 70 years is something that we value and that we don't take lightly. And the milestone of celebrating our Platinum Jubilee is a big deal to us, despite the pandemic. We accept graciously this resolution in honor of our 70th anniversary. Special thanks to Mr. Dale Wagner and his office for the efforts they put on behind the scenes to make this opportunity available for us. My name is Brunelle Thomas, and these beautiful women you see in red and black, we all represent Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, an organization of college-educated women committed to the constructive development of its members and to the public service with a primary focus on the Black community. Martinsville Alumni Chapter is celebrating this milestone of an achievement as our celebration on our charter date of November 27th. And our celebration continues. We will be 70 years old until November 27, 2022. We stand on the legacy of our 22 founders of the illustrious sisterhood, and we boast a strong membership of 52 financial sorors who are committed to sisterhood, scholarship, service, and social action in Martinsville and Henry County. As the resolution has been read, we have been resilient throughout the pandemic, working toward the efforts of educating our community about COVID and the myths about the vaccine, working toward food insecurities, as well as trying to help our neighbors and friends stay warm in this community. Parents of high school seniors, keep in mind that our sorority offers an annual scholarship, so please take note and share that with your high school senior. We are excited about new partnerships that are coming soon, so please look out for our Grow with Google training that will come out next year, as well as our revitalization of our youth programs. Martinsville Alumni Chapter is striving to make an impact by offering intentional programs, modeling our 9 cardinal virtues, planning strategically actions benefiting the chapter and community together. So consider us your partner, Henry County, and if ever you can call on us to help further your mission in this community, know that you have 52, this is just a sample, 52 college-educated professional women who are ready to answer the call to serve. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
You doing good? Doing okay? Everything, family okay? Please.
We'll watch you step now.
Agenda item number 18, we have general highway matters. We have with us Lisa Hughes from VDOT. Lisa, welcome.
Thank you. I'll be very brief. Just a quick update on some projects we have ongoing that we hope will wrap up shortly after the first of the year. And the first one is the Virginia Avenue pedestrian sidewalk improvements that we've got ongoing. Hope the good weather holds out and we get to finish that up. But we're about 80% complete, I would think. Still got some signal work, marking, crosswalks, that type of thing, but hopefully we can finish that up. Pipe work there at Woody Circle, Cunningham Tire, that's about 95% complete. And we have a pipe bore project on Railroad Lane to improve that collapsed box that gave us so much trouble about a year ago. So that'll be starting Monday, and hopefully it'll finish up in a few weeks. And that'll get us through to the first of the year, hopefully. So that's all I had, and glad to answer any questions.
Does anyone have anything? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 19, we'll have the swearing-in ceremony for elected officials. Mr. Hall.
The circuit court clerk, the county registrar, and the chairman of the electoral board are present to participate in the swearing-in ceremony for those placed in office in the November 2nd election. These positions include, from the Board of Supervisors, Jim Adams, Blackberry District; Joseph Bryant, Connellsville District; Garrett Dillard, Iriswood District; and on the school board, Thomas Alker, Blackberry District; Elizabeth Durden, Collinsville District; and Benjamin Bradley, Iriswood District.
I will ask the board if they will find a seat down.
Jimmy L. Jim Adams.
you, Jimmy Adams, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge all the duties incumbent upon you as a member of the Henry County Board of Supervisors, representing the Hvac District for a term of office commencing January 1st, 2022, and expiring December 31st, 2025, according to the best of your ability, so help you God.
Jimmy L. Jim Adams was duly elected member Henry County Board of Supervisors for the Blackberry District for a term commencing January the 1st, 2022, and ending December 31st, 2025. Garrett L. Dillard.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you, Garrett L. Dillard, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge all the duties incumbent upon you as a member of the Henry County Board of Supervisors, representing the Iriswood District for a term of office commencing January 1st, 2022, and expiring December 31st, 2025, according to the best of your ability, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Sign here for me, please.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Garrett L. Dillard.
Yes, ma'am.
Was duly elected member of the Henry County Board of Supervisors for the Iriswood District for a term commencing January the 1st, 2022, and ending December the 31st, 2025. Congratulations. Joseph A. Joe Bryant, Sr.
Do you, Joseph Bryant, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge all the duties incumbent upon you as a member of the Henry County Board of Supervisors, representing the Collinsville District for a term of office commencing January 1st, 2022, and expiring December 31st, 2025, according to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Joseph A. Joe Bryant, Sr. was duly elected member of the Henry County Board of Supervisors for the Collinsville District for a term commencing January the 1st, 2022, and ending December the 31st, 2025. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thomas E. Auger. Elizabeth A. Durnan. If you'll raise your right hand, please. Do you, Elizabeth Durnan, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge all the duties incumbent upon you as a member of the Henry County School Board, representing the Collinsville District, for a term of office commencing January 1st, 2022, and expiring December 31st, 2025, according to the best of your ability, so help you God?
Elizabeth A. Durden was duly elected member of the Henry County School Board, Collinsville District, for a term commencing January 1st, 2022, and ending December 31st, 2025. Thank you. Benjamin E. Gravely.
You raise your right hand, please. Do you, Benjamin Gravely, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge all the duties incumbent upon you as a member of the Henry County School Board representing the Iriswood District for a term of office commencing January 1st, 2022 and expiring December 31st, 2025, according to the best of your ability, so help you God? Thank you.
Benjamin E. Gravely was duly elected member Henry County School Board, Iriswood District, for a term commencing January 1, 2022, and ending December 31st, 2025. Thank you.
Special thanks to our circuit court clerk, the county registrar, and the chairman of the electoral board and other electoral board members for doing this tonight. We appreciate your presence here. Our next agenda item is agenda item 20, matters presented by the public. Do we have anyone wishing to address the board under matters presented by the public? I see one hand. Are there others? I have a brief statement to read that's part of board's policy on this is a time for public comment. We welcome your participation in tonight's meeting. We're here to listen to you. If you care to address the board, come to the podium, state your name, your subject matter, and the district in which you live. By coming to the podium, you have agreed that you'll exhibit respect for the board and its members. You will receive the same consideration from the board. Please try to keep your presentation to no more than 3 minutes. Yes, ma'am, I saw your hand.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I live in the Ridgeway district, and Ryan Zare, I think, is over our district.
And your name, please?
Betty Emery, E-M-O-R-Y. I live on Farmbrook Road in Ridgeway. It is a dead-end street. It is a very, very serious problem area. From the stop sign to the end of the road, it is a really bad curve where 3 school buses let children off. We have had a neighbor to move in the last house. He's running a garage. He brings in 23 cars, takes out 15, brings in 23 more. He runs a garage. He's I don't know if he's a tow truck driver or what the problem is. But Mr. Wagner I have talked to him, and he's been a lot of help and suggested that we come tonight to try to get something done. There are 14 children on this road from kindergarten up to high school. Per Mr. Wagner, I don't think the guy that lives there owns the home. I think it's a William Morris that owns the home. But Mary lives on the upper side. She's 85 years old. We can't even go to our mailbox. This guy has a big trailer it's loaded with cars. He is burning tires. Sunday, when we got home from our Christmas party at church, the smell was horrendous. And we have got to have something done, because if not, we put up with drugs there. The last house on the right is North Carolina, so you can just imagine the activity there. But it's a dead spot in the curve. If the bus was to be coming down as he is pulling out from down there, it would be a disaster. And anything that anybody can help us with, we have been battling this now for about 10 years, but it's gotten progressively worse. And I know Mr. Wagner has sent somebody down there. I don't know the guy. There's a guy that kind of looks like him that advertises on the Facebook Martinsville yard sale page. And, but it's just, it's awful. We're retired, we're senior citizens, and we live off of Social Security, so we can't move. And I don't know if he rents, you know, there was a for sale sign in the yard, but when I talked to Mr. Wagner, he pulled it up and says that the North guy still owns the property. But anything that anybody can do to help us, we don't know where else to turn. Got to have some help before a child is killed or a senior citizen is killed. And I really appreciate the time for letting us speak tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Are there others wishing to address the board under matters presented by the public? Seeing no indication as such, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? It is 6-0. Jennifer, everyone have a good evening.